Hi, hello, how are you? Amanda, Seint Artist. We're going to do our makeup. This is Seint Makeup, cream-based 3D foundation. This is the basics. You've seen the makeup, you're still thinking about you want to try it. This is what I would recommend to start. One brush, one palette. This is Tiny But Mighty. This is a palette 8, Tiny But Mighty. It fits my whole face on one side, and then there's room to grow after you've tried it. That way you're not buying multiple palettes. All right, let's get started. This is the basic setup. This is my whole face. Everything in here is foundational coverage. Let's just get that one out of the way. I've got my main highlight, like your foundation, which is Athens. My brightening is like a concealer, and that is Sunlit. My contour is Cedar, and my blush lip color, lip and cheek is what we call them, is Madrid. I love this color. I have acne scarring. I did a bit of color correcting. It's what I do. I will have a video on that too. But for right now, it's just the basics, and I'm going to dig in. I like this brush because it gives you coverage, but it also gives you structure, and it handles your under eyes really well. This is a great one and done brush. I, again, love it. It's one of my top 3. I take this one everywhere all the time. It's always with me on my trips. It's always with me at home. This is one of my go-tos. All right, I think I've hammered that in. I'm going to set my face to prep. If you have oily skin, I would recommend taking a beauty blender. This is an e.l.f. one. We have beauty blenders. Seint does have beauty blenders. Get an e.l.f. one. It's more cost effective, and I like it more. Spray this with Seint setting spray if you have dry skin, and put it on that way. That way it hydrates your skin really well. It gets everywhere you want it to be, and you can really focus it where you're extra dry because it's a super hydrating setting spray. I'm using Charlotte Tilbury because I have oily skin, okay? And you don't have to wait for it to dry. You can just dig right in. It's okay for it to kind of mix up with your makeup. It's not going to mess anything up, which I really like. Some things you have to put it on, wait for it to set, yada, yada, yada. All right. I'm going to start on the big end. This is going to be my main go-to end, is this big guy right here, and I'm going to go into my main highlight. You always want to just stamp this in. You don't want to see clumping with your bristles. This is buildable makeup. This is highly pigmented. It's 80% pigmentation, so you need little to get more. Less is more. You will get coverage. All I'm doing right here is evening out my skin tone. So I'm giving myself some coverage and evening out the skin tone. I'm going to bring it up here where my color correcting is, and I'm stippling it. I prefer the stippling method, especially for maturing skin. This area right here, I'm getting a lot of change with my age. I'm 43. Things are changing, moving, creasing, falling. I don't know. Things are falling. And so I am going to stipple this in. It presses it into the skin really well, and that's another reason why I like this brush. I like that it's flat, and it puts it in where I want it and gives me that pretty skin-like finish with very little product. But very little. There's not a lot on my brush here, and it just evens it out. It's almost like an eraser. I'm going to go over my hyperpigmentation right there, and then I'm going to come up here. This is my bad side. Everybody has a good side. That's this one. This side has the most discoloration. I think it's probably because I drive, and that's the window side, so it gets a lot of sun, maybe. I don't know. It's just my bad side. I don't know why. I'm not a scientist. I just like makeup. All right, so I'm going in, and I'm just evening out my skin tone, covering up my scarring and hyperpigmentation, and then covering my redness that I get around my mouth. All right, I'm done. Going into the crease with what's left. It's okay. My nose is red. It's always red. It's going to be fine because everything in here is foundation, and it's all going to work out in the end. Trust the process. It seems a little weird for a while, and it all works out in the end. All right, next I'm going to go in with the small end. I'm going to go into my brightening, which is Sunlit, and we're going to go right down the middle here. We're going to go into the middle, push this over my brows, and I'm going to unfinish this. I'm going to leave this undone. That's what's going to work on this forehead. If there's one thing I can do, it's a forehead. I am good at my forehead. All right, I'm going to grab this. We're going to go down the middle. I'm going to hit my Cupid's bow, and then I'm going to hit right here. So this is just giving the illusion of reflecting light because light reflects off of our face. Our skin is a texture, so it has reflection. I use my finger to blend this part out, and I'm going to wait because I have a bump right here on my nose. And so I'm going to use my brightening highlight, just what's left. I'm going to put down the middle very lightly, and I'll be doing it again. So that's why I'm just using what's left on my brush. All right, we're going to leave it here for a minute, and we're going to move on to contour because I make my contour and my brightening work together to give me the dimension and the coverage that I like. Dimension, coverage, balance, all of it in one easy layer of makeup. I'm going to use that big end again. We're going to go into my cedar contour, spouncing in, no clumping. I'm going to follow my hairline here. We're just going to go across the hairline, and I'm going to flick into the hairline so I don't have a line, just like that. And then I'm going to bring it down and following the natural shadowing of my forehead. There's always a little more shadowing on the sides, following the hairline, flipping to this small end. You see that line right there? We're going to grab and pull, and we're going to pull that brightening into that contour. It's going to give us reflecting light, structure, balance, all the things in one little layer, and they work together. The same is going to happen on my nose. So I'm going to go on the edge of this brush here, and I'm going to follow my natural shadow of my brow, and then I'm going to go on the top side of my nose. And then I'm just going to kind of pull this down, grabbing it again. We're using very little. So here's the deal with brightening and contour. They're obviously not going to be your skin tone, so you're going to see them. So it's going to look like I have a lot of product, and it's really just not my skin color, so you can really notice it. Grabbing a little more and just going to square off the tip, and now I'm going to blend. So I'm just using that top, and I'm going to tap because I have that bump. If you have a bump or a crooked nose, tap your heart out, and then I'm bridging it together. This is going to help with straightening it and camouflaging that bump. I'm going to go to that small end. We're going to tap. I'm going to pinch it, and we're going to go down the middle. Boom. Boom. And I'm going to use my finger and tap it. That's where I say I stack it a little bit. I like to I just empty the brush out and then go in and contour and add just a touch more, and I'm good. That's a good looking nose. That's a good looking forehead. My nose sometimes takes a little bit of work. That's okay. All right, we're going in on the side here again. I live on the side once my forehead's done. This is why I like this brush. It's nice and squared and good. We're going to take this natural shadow and we're going to jump above it. Check where my contour is. And we're going to just hit the side of that cheekbone on the side of the face. We don't want to come in farther than the outer corner of the eye. And we're going to underblend this as well. This is the name of the game. Things work together here. And so if I blend this where I like it and then I start adding my blush, it's going to blend it away and you're never going to see that contour. If you feel like you don't see your contour enough, either get a little bit darker of a shade and underblend. Underblend, make it messy, make it look like dirt. It's fine. It's going to work out. I promise. Trust the process. So we're going to go in, we're going to go up, and I'm going to bring this up my temple a little bit, because it's going to work with that upper contouring, just like that. We don't need to draw a big 3 on our face like we used to do, like we've been told to do. All right, grabbing it again, and I'm going to go right in front of my earlobe. It's just like the 3. We're just drawing less product on our face, and I'm kind of blending as I go. Pushing up in front of that earlobe just chisels things out a little bit, and then we're going to pull it down. Same thing. Going on that side in front of the earlobe. I don't need to go all the way up here. We just need in front of that earlobe and then down the jaw. Super easy, and then pull down the neck. I'm going to use 1 stamp of brightening, 2 stamps of my main highlight covering this little fella. My neck is always lighter than my face. Always, always, always. And so I use this just to bridge it all together, just using a little bit of my lightening to light. You can use all these colors. You can use your contour to deepen your main highlight, your brightening to lighten your main highlight. Balancing the skin, it's not science. It's just playing with these colors. I mean, you've got a light, medium, dark. Play with them. It's makeup. It should be fun. And if it's not fun, we're doing it wrong, right? Right. Okay, next I'm going to go into my blush. I like to do my under eyes last because I always bring my blush up a little higher than I should. But I'm going to go in on the big end. We're going to go in. I'm using Madrid, and I'm going to start up here on top by contour, and then my blush is going to go right here because as you mature, again, I'm 43, the volume of your cheeks goes down. So I'm going to go right here. And I'm just going to add it. I'm going to smile so I can actually see my apples, and then I'm going to bring it down. And as I'm doing this, it's also blending down that contour, which is why I underblended it, because I trusted the process. And then I just build this pink up until I'm happy, and then I can go in and do it again at the end once I've done my under eyes. So smile, start up at the top, let that work with your contour, smile, bring it to the apples. Once you get the use of, you can do this slow. I'm just fast because I've been doing this for, 4 years. 4 years. of the same thing. You really just find a placement of things and you stick with it. That's what it is. All right, we're going to go to this small end. I love this end for my under eyes. It's small and it's light. It doesn't put too much on, but I do have darkness. So I'm going to go into my main highlight and I'm just going to cancel out that darkness. I put a little much on my brush, so I'm just splitting it between the two and I'm coming up to that middle and I'm just canceling that darkness out with my main highlight. Next, I'm going to go into Sunlit. I like pairing them together. Sunlit has a yellow undertone, so it does work with my discoloration. But for what I like out of my makeup, I do cancel out with my main highlight. So you have this shine right here. We're going to smile. We're going to come just above it. And we're going to come up to that inner corner. And we're stamping this and brightening, grabbing as we need. Go up that orbital bone. You really want the last placement to be on your soft tissue because that's an easily textured area. I say this all the time. This is the hammock of your face. And so it can easily be textured. You can crepe this. A 10-year-old could have texture under their eyes if they put too much makeup on. Skin is a texture. Less is more. And so we don't want to accentuate it, but starting on that shine, bringing it up. If you don't want to accentuate it, use less product. If your product is causing crepiness, if you're a tart shaped taper, try this makeup. It's really well pigmented. You're going to use less makeup, less crepiness, but also we have this product called Balm. And if you just really can't quit your concealer under your eyes, prep with Balm and it's going to change your under eyes. I promise. I've done it. I've compared Tarte with ours, with the Balm, and it's good. You'll have less product on your face with this, but you can still get the same longevity and the same look. I think the difference between us and them is just the amount you need. All right, so I'm just putting this how I like it. I'm using my Sunlit, which is too light for my skin, to kind of bring out that trough. Texture is texture and you can't change it, but we can certainly try camouflaging it. So I bring mine down a little low. And there we go. I'm going to use the edge of that brush again. I'm going into my contour. I'm going to go right here and up here. And I'm just going to contour my lips a little bit. Using that, I'm going to go with this small end, grabbing my brightening, and I'm just going to structure it out. I don't do the contour all the way around my lips. I like a bit more tidiness, and that's just a personal preference. Do whatever you want for your face. Smear it all around. I don't care. It's your face. If you're happy with it, that's all that matters. All right, I'm going to pinch this. I'm going to grab some contour, and I am going to, not drop my palette, and I'm going to use this as a smoky, because I'm using a big fat brush. Not a big fat, but for lips it is. I'm just going to line my lips with my contour. I'm going to grab my blush and we're going to put that on. Now, I have chapped lips. They're peeling. They're getting boo-boos. That's just from dry lips. It's not a thing. I get the things. This is not that this time. And I'm just going to fill in my lips using Madrid and pairing it with that cedar adds just that touch of warmth. If you have a chapstick you like, grab that. I'm just going to get into my regular palette and I'm going to grab my Balm and I'm just going to add that to it. So if you have a chapstick you like or a gloss, do that. I like adding the Balm. That's okay. If you're using something like your lip and cheeks and they're a satin finish or your contours or your bronzers, you can easily get textured because your lips are textured, especially if they're chapped like mine. So adding that little bit of chapstick on top helps. All right, what do I want to add? I'm going to take a little bit of Sunlit, little bit, and I'm going to put that right here. It's just going to add a little pout, and that's it. So next I'm going to go in with my setting spray. Again, I have oily skin, so I use Charlotte Tilbury or Urban Decay, and it's good. If you have dry skin, definitely do this with the Seint setting spray. It's the most hydrating setting spray I've ever seen. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to press this in where I'm oily. And now I'm going to go do my eyeshadow and I'm going to post a picture of it because we don't need to see the whole shebang. But this is quick makeup. I talk a lot. And so this is a good 10-minute face. 10-minute face. Your contour can be your eyeshadow also. This is good quality makeup. So message me for a color match. Just need a makeup-free selfie facing a window, a couple steps back. And let's get you some good tiny but mighty makeup. Tiny but mighty. Have a great day.